The movie begins with the wife of an imperial guard, Chang'an, eating a slice of melon. Suddenly, a talking black cat asks for some, and she hesitantly gives it the tray of melons. The cat tells her about the tree with hidden money underneath it as payment for the meal. When it leaves, she only sees the empty melon peels and a fish with its eyes eaten by the cat. She hurries to dig under the tree, and Chang'an finds a pot of gold coins. She shares it with her husband. Meanwhile, the Japanese monk Kukai is summoned to the imperial palace in Chang'an for an exorcism. Emperor Xuanzong is cursed with a supernatural ailment and hasn't slept in a week. Suddenly, the emperor passes away while strange cat wailings can be heard. The scribe Bai Letian is ordered to write about the emperor's passing caused by an illness. However, he's unsure of its cause and asks the monk what he thinks might cause his death. Kukai inquires about the emperor's black cat, but Bai says the emperor has never had a cat. So, Kukai shows him the piece of black fur he found near the emperor's bed. Kukai sees paw prints with dust surrounding the emperor's bed, further proving there was a cat near the emperor's bed. Following the paw prints, they find an enchanted tile that writes that the emperor is dead, and Li Song, the prince, the next emperor, is next. The next day, when Kukai is packing his things, Bai confirms that there's a cat in the palace, as the night patrol told him. He also tells him of a rumor that Chen Yongkao, an imperial guard, had a talking cat at his house. Kukai says it's not his business anymore as he will be leaving, and Bai tells him he has quit his job as a scribe to devote himself to poetry. He explains that being a scribe helps him with his poetry and is working on Song of Everlasting Sorrow, the story about the life of the emperor's favorite concubine Lady Yang Gaifei. Bai asks Kukai why he is in a rush to leave for Japan. Kukai reveals his desire to study with Abbot Huigo at Qinglong Temple, the home of Tantric Buddhism. Huigo obtained the Tantric secrets abroad, but he took no disciples. In the streets, they see an old man performing for a crowd. He shows the crowd how one melon can feed everyone. He takes the seeds of one melon and puts them in the ground. After watering it, the seeds start sprouting until its vines crawl up and grow melons. He gives one to Kukai, who immediately realizes his secret: only one melon is true. Kukai theorizes that a talking cat might be true if a powerful illusion can do that. Afterward, Kukai decides to continue his investigation with the help of Bai. They decide to interview Chen Yongkao, who they follow to a brothel. Yongkao and his men are there enjoying the music and company he paid for with the gold his wife found. The cat arrives at the brothel and takes control of a woman named Li Shang, who is jealous of the new girl, Yulian. When she has her attention, she offers tea with poison, and Yulian unknowingly drinks it. While Yongkao and his men enjoy their time with the ladies, the cat calls for Yongkao. Kukai and Bai see the cat luring in the shadows. Yongkao naively throws the cat a fish, but it says it only eats eyeballs. The cat disappears into the shadows, and then it strikes Yongkao, leaving a bloody scratch on his cheek. The cat swiftly and sneakily attacks Yongkao's men. Before the cat leaves, it tells him all his debts must be paid, and it will see him at his home tomorrow night. One of Yongkao's men is left bloodied as the cat scratches out his eyes, and Yulian falls unconscious. Yongkao quickly leaves the brothel to go home. Arriving home, he calls for Chang'an and finds the pond filled with dead fish, with none of their eyes left. The next day, Kukai and Bai report the incident to Inspector Li. Kukai explains the cat caused the incident. The same cat from the palace, according to the paw prints they found. Inspector Li apologizes to Bai for firing him because of believing the cause of the death of the emperor was not an illness. Later, he tells them the prince was just crowned and immediately became paralyzed, which proves the prophecy they saw before. Afterward, Kukai wonders why the cat attacked Yongkao. Bai explains that he's head of the imperial guard, and his family has been protecting the emperor for 3 generations. This reminds Kukai of the debt the cat said, so Bai theorizes it must be the previous emperor's debt. That night, Yongkao and Chang'an nervously await the cat while Yongkao's men patrol the house. There are also shamans inside, doing different rituals to try and deter the cat. Despite this, the cat still arrives and swiftly sneaks into the house. It suddenly appears and attacks. Yongkao hears the cat and goes to investigate it. He sees traces of blood and finds his men and the shaman's dead bodies. Yongkao scrambles to Chang'an and sees the cat with her. The cat taunts him and scratches her neck. He cowardly runs away and tries to leave the house, but the doors are locked. He then sees Chang'an and finds her alright, but it's revealed that the cat possessed her. Meanwhile, Kukai and Bai are called back to the brothel, and they discover that Yulian has fallen into a coma and has several lesions on her legs. Kukai figures she was poisoned and orders a girl to get some raw meat. Soon, Yongkao arrives at the brothel, frantically asking Li Shang to let him stay the night, but she only slams the door. Kukai is busy healing Yulian and successfully removes the poison in her blood by using the meat to draw it out. Yulian's friend says Li Shang is jealous of her because Young Kao used to be her lover. Kukai theorizes Young Kao must have been the original target. Young Kao finds them and begs to save his wife. When Kukai and Bai go to his house, they see an illusion of Chang'an on the roof reciting a poem. They go inside the house and find Chang'an asleep on her bed. Kukai believes the illusion must be of the demon cat, as it casts no shadow, and only cats can walk on rooftops. They research the poem recited by Chang'an in the Imperial Library. Soon, they learn that it was composed by Li Bo, the Feast of Supreme Joy, which he wrote for Lady Yang's birthday, as requested by Emperor Li. They decide to visit Young Kao's house once again. However, it looks very different now, like it's been abandoned for years, even though they were there yesterday. They see an illusion of Chang'an and a giant cherry blossom tree in front. An illusion of Chang'an calls for them and offers them tea, and Kukai accepts despite Bai's protests. The visage tells Bai that it knows he isn't happy with his unfinished poem. The illusion explains that she was once Emperor Li's beloved cat. However, when the rebellion came, he abandoned it and fled for his life. After that, Young Kao's father buried the cat alive but escaped. While the cat is out to take revenge, it eats a poisonous fish and dies under a bed. Its soul is trapped and turns into a demon. Afterward, they found the dead cat and burned it. Later, Young Kao celebrates with Kukai and Bai for saving his wife. Young Kao and Chang'an dance together, but it's revealed the cat possessed Young Kao. While possessed, he kills Chang'an. Young Kao goes insane, saying it wasn't him who killed her. Kukai figures out what the cat was trying to tell them: Lady Yang was buried alive too. Afterward, Bai believes his poem, Everlasting Sorrow, would be fraudulent if he cannot learn the truth behind Lady Yang's death. Kukai sees his obsession with her, but Bai believes he's seeking justice for her, one that Emperor Li couldn't give. Then Kukai reveals his master is Japan's famous exorcist, not him. He's just an ordinary shaman. His master sent him instead because he was unwell. He's tasked to find the tantric teachings, which will explain how to be released from the cycle of life and death. Later, Bai and Kukai visit concubine Yang's lady-in-waiting, Qin Yi. Unfortunately, she wasn't present when the concubine was executed. Still, she saw her body after, saying she looked like she was sleeping. The demon cat kills Qin Yi right after their visit. After leaving, they discover the cat is killing everyone involved in Lady Yang's death, and soon enough, they find Qin Yi dead too. They look into the people who survived the mutiny, where they learn about the Japanese envoy, Abe no Nakamuro. They obtain his journal from his widow and discover that he was in love with Lady Yang and the events that led to her death. 10 days after Lady Yang's birthday feast, general and rebels against the emperor. The imperial guards rebelled at Meiwei and demanded Lady Yang's death, ending the rebellion and bringing peace. The emperor was surrounded. They waited for him to give her up, so they hatched a plan to save Lady Yang's life. When Abe gets to talk privately to Lady Yang, she says she already knows about her feelings for him, but she will not leave Emperor Li. Later, the Yellow Crane, the realm's most famous magician, tells Emperor Li of his trick called the Immortal Path, which resembles hibernation. It uses an acupuncture technique that would make Lady Yang seem dead for some time. This would make the soldiers surrender to the emperor and promise loyalty. Fortunately, the plan works. Lady Yang is then placed in a coffin and buried inside a tomb. Her black cat was left in the tomb. They realize the plan was meant to trick the emperor and not rescue her from the tomb. Lady Yang knew it was a trick but sacrificed her life so Emperor Li would live. Everyone who knew the true story was executed because nobody could bear the guilt of killing her. Later, Kukai and Bai visit Lady Yang's tomb. They find bloodied scratch marks inside the coffin and realize she was buried alive. The cat arrives and shows them its memory of when Lady Yang's two loyal servants, Bai Ling and Bai Long, attended to her grave. Bai Ling confesses that he was aware of the plan to trick Lady Yang, so he put poison into her wine so she would not suffer, shocking Bai Long. Unfortunately, the poison didn't work, and she suffered in the sealed coffin. Bai Long refuses to abandon her grave out of guilt, believing she will still awaken. Bai Long sacrifices himself and imbues his spirit into the black cat. The cat, now a demon, returned to the palace and attacked the emperor, putting a curse on him. Soon, Kukai and Bai are joined by an older Bai Ling at the tomb. The cat pounces on Bai Ling. Bai Ling tells the cat that he retrieved Bai Long's body and put it beside Lady Yang's. Bai Long confesses he is now prepared to die. The cat prepares to attack him but goes to the coffin. The demon cat struggles to climb up the coffin. They realize that Bai Long has finally accepted Lady Yang's death, and his spirit in the cat is now free. They then see a white crane with Bai Long flying off, and the cat dies moments later. Kukai puts the dead cat beside Lady Yang's, finally returning to its master. Afterward, Kukai and Bai are in the city. Bai says he has finished his poem but intends to keep it the same despite being inaccurate. The two part ways and Kukai finally meets Abbot Huigo at Qinglong Temple. The movie ends as Kukai gives a sutra to Abbot Huigo, which he found with the help of Abe's journal. He asks him whether he has found the secret to life without sorrow. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.